Arsenal are making moves to sign a brand new striker. As Mikel Arteta tries to evolve its attack once again, RB Leipzig's Sesko has become the #1 target. So today we'll get the big update in terms of what's happening, find out about a reported personal term agreement, as well as a surprising move in terms of the wingers. We'll also break down Arsenal's European lesson and find out about a twist in the future of Thomas Partey.
Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14 and welcome back to your boy channel, and I hope you guys are doing sensational. The 2025 transfer window is officially open. So as per, smash a like on this video if you do enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Help your boy enjoy the 300,000 subscribers. But starting off with Arsenal's European lesson, after a Champions League final that shocked the entire world, Paris Saint-Germain smashing 5 past Inter Milan, the same team that Arsenal narrowly lost to in the semi-finals, went on to become the European champions, with this being the official UEFA Champions League team of the season, featuring so many PSG players, Barcelona players, and then you also have Arsenal's Declan Rice. But in terms of the final itself, a level of dominance shown, the XG, the possession, the total shots. If anything for Arsenal, it was a major game to learn from. The first thing being the level of work rate shown by the PSG attackers. Kvaratskhelia, Dembele and Doué, the stars of the show. But for all the talk of superstars and the need for a platform, this PSG side proved that in 2025, you can have the talent and you can have the superstars, but you also have to have the work rate. With that famous video of Luis Enrique having a go at Kylian Mbappe, telling him that if you want to be the best player in the world, you need to work like one as well. In a Champions League final where Ousmane Dembele got 2 assists, look at this graphic here and you'll notice straight away, he was also the highest player by far in terms of total distance covered. Link that back to Arsenal and think about Bukayo Saka. Despite Mikel Arteta often getting criticised for making his forwards work too hard, I think as fans we also have to understand that football is definitely changing. Teams are working harder than ever before. These players are athletes of the highest level. So as much as we want to keep our forwards as high up the pitch as possible, compare PSG to Real Madrid, where Vinny, Mbappe and Rodrigo weren't tracking back. Arsenal completely decimated them. But against PSG, where both teams were working equally hard, it became more a game of quality. Quality that PSG had, they scored their goals, knocking out Arsenal in the semi-finals, with this being their route to victory. Beating 3 English sides, Liverpool, Villa and Arsenal, then smashing 5 past Inter Milan. Look at the XG though, and Arsenal were actually the only team to register more than PSG. In fact, over the course of the season, PSG lost just 6 times on XG, Monaco, Bayern Munich, Villa, and then 3 times against Arsenal. I'm sure there will be critics that will laugh at Arsenal. They'll say, what's the point of having all the XG if you can't score the goals? But for me, what it shows is our tactical quality. For Mikel Arteta in both games against PSG, he gave his side the best chance to go and get through, allowing his team to progress the ball into that final third. When I think about that PSG game, I don't see it as a system problem. For me, it was more about the lack of quality. Look at PSG and their free-flowing football. Hakimi, Dembele drifting all over the pitch. For as intriguing as the expected goal stats are, football is all about the actual goals scored, and that's where PSG deserve to win the Champions League. But for a side that had spent €240 million last summer, as well as 455 last season, they are also #1 in all of Europe for having the highest wage bill at €658 million, with Arsenal all the way down in 9th. This just shows that in the current day of football, you can have an elite coach where players can work very hard, but you can only coach a player to a certain standard. You need to invest at a high rate to have the best players in Europe, because when you get it right, as PSG showed, winning their first ever Champions League, boy can you play some beautiful football. So with Arsenal set to invest massively in the summer of 2025, one player that Arsenal were linked to was Joan Garcia, but in terms of the latest there, according to reports in Spain, Arsenal have dropped out of the race to sign Joan Garcia, as they do not consider paying Garcia's €25 million release clause appropriate, while David Raya is the first choice at the club, with Fabrizio Romano also confirming there is now an agreement between Barcelona and Joan Garcia about a long-term deal, and the deal is very advanced. It looks like Garcia is staying in Spain and going to Barcelona, and for me this all comes down to Andrea Berta. Where in 2024 Arsenal may have had the funds and they missed the chance, come this year with all the amount that Arsenal need to spend on their attack. Yes, I think Garcia's quality, yes, I think he can improve our score. But when you've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world, David Raya ranking 1 in all the Champions League campaign for total goals prevented, the priority is not the goalkeeper, so you have to think about your funds. Allocate them towards the forward department, and I think that's what Andrea Berta is trying to do. So what's happening with Real Madrid's Rodrigo? A reported Arsenal transfer target with a price tag of £80 million. There was the initial talk that the player was going to try to force a move away, unhappy at Real Madrid and feeling undervalued. But according to more recent reports, Rodrigo wants to talk to Xavi Alonso before deciding his future, with Arsenal, Chelsea and City all interested. You even had the reliable Jose Felix Diaz saying that the Real Madrid leaders want a reaction from Rodrigo on the pitch and wanting to show it at the Club World Cup. This is after he informed the club that he wants to stay. with the player currently on vacation alongside his girlfriend, I don't think the saga is closed. Even if Rodrigo wants to stay at Real Madrid, there is a long summer ahead where things can change. Reports that Real Madrid have other 4 targets in mind. With the arrival of Trent and Dean Huijsen, I don't think that will be the end of the spending. And we've seen this in the past perfectly with Martin Odegaard, leaving Arsenal in 2021 after the loan spell, confirmed that he returned to Real Madrid, but come the end of the window he was an Arsenal player. When it comes to Real Madrid, they are a ruthless club and they can change their mind out of nowhere. The key thing for Rodrigo is going to be the Club World Cup, with a lucrative amount of money available for Real Madrid to go and win. If he performs at a high level when he's starting, his future could be at the Bernabeu. But if he is not starting and he still feels undervalued, I wonder if Arsenal will make their move. But with the Arsenal starboy Bukayo Saka at the Spanish Grand Prix, alongside starboy Miles Lewis-Skelly, seen also alongside Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze, Rodrigo or not, Arsenal need to sign a wide forward this window. Find a Saka-level forward for the left-hand side, giving Arsenal an equal amount of threat. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal are one of the teams that are interested in Brian Mbeumo of Brentford. Mbeumo is a deal that does make a lot of sense, especially when you think about the price tag. £50 million, Premier League proven, 20 league goals scored last season. But he is also not a left winger, playing mainly on the right-hand side for Brentford. For me, if Arsenal do end up going for Mbeumo, it will be more of a long-term Gabriel Jesus replacement, a player that's currently ruled out all the way down to December.
You've now got an exclusive from David Ornstein, shocking the world, saying that Mbeumo has decided he wants to join Man United. With talks now open with Brentford in a bid to sign the 25-year-old forward, the likes of Arsenal, Newcastle and Tottenham are all interested, but the Cameroonian international favours Old Trafford if a deal is agreed. Of course, there'll be questions of why is the player choosing 15th over teams that are in the Champions League. But in the case of Arsenal, when you've got his main position already filled up with a top world-class player, it was always going to be a question of where would he play at the Emirates. You've also got more reports that claim Mbeumo's reps have told Newcastle that a winger would demand more than quadruple of his £45,000 per week salary if he was to leave. And let's just say United are notoriously known for offering players whatever money they want. You've also got reports coming out of the Bundesliga, with the future of Leroy Sané in massive doubts, potentially available on a free transfer this summer, despite initial reports coming out of Belgium, claiming that Tottenham have offered Sané a 4-year contract and are currently in pole position to land the player. According to reliable Christian Faulkner, Arsenal looking to hijack Tottenham's deal for Bayern Munich's Leroy Sané, with a report claiming it appears that Sané's chances of signing a new contract at Bayern are slim, and Arsenal have now taken concrete steps in signing the player. Sané wants to stay close to his family and therefore, a move to London appeals to him. 29 years of age and once upon a time a very exciting signing. Last year his numbers were decent, but this is not the Sané of 2017, where in his prime at Man City he was completing 2.7 dribbles per game at a 64% success rate. Last year he was only completing 1.3, at a success rate of only 41%. There is no denying the player has declined, there is not the same level of physicality. Sané is no longer the explosive player he used to be. So yes, Andrea Berta and Mikel Arteta might see an opportunity. A player that has Premier League experience. He's played in the Champions League and he's shown that he can do it at a high level, but in a summer that Arsenal have to raise their attacking ceiling. Sané for me does not achieve that. So with other reports claiming that Arsenal intend to back Mikel Arteta at this transfer window, with Nico Williams alongside Sané targeted, with all the reliable reports, Williams is still Mikel Arteta's #1 left wing target. But with all the talk that Arsenal are going for a project like Sesko, I think if Arsenal are going to sign a left winger, he needs to be more proven. So could you then look towards Paris Saint-Germain? With some reports claiming that Arsenal and Tottenham are interested in signing PSG's Bradley Barcola, with PSG open to selling the player for around £42 million. Yet another young player but with so much more potential. In a Champions League final where he was left on the bench once again, this again could be another market opportunity. When it comes to the current left wing market, Arsenal will have a dilemma though. Do they go for an expensive potential player or more experienced option instead? My friends, I'll throw it to you down below in the comments. If you could sign one left winger for Arsenal in the current market, let me know who that player would be. Now let's talk about the future of Thomas Partey. With the recent report from Gary Jacobs claiming Thomas Partey's representatives held talks with Barcelona, the player has so far been unable to agree a new contract at Arsenal beyond the expiry of his present deal this month. Now Barca are on the market for a midfielder and Partey would be an opportunity. Bags of experience and still a high level of quality, set to be a free agent in less than a month. But according to reliable Sam C, Partey has verbally agreed to a new contract, but still has issues to iron out. Let's see if someone can come in and convince him. To me, I still believe Thomas Partey will stay at Arsenal this summer, but these recent reports could be coming from his agent, trying to get his client a better deal and the best money possible. When you have other teams after him, it does create urgency. This next week will be massive for the future of Thomas Partey. Will he be an Arsenal player come the start of next season? Because if he is allowed to leave, Arsenal will then have to be proactive. Go onto the market and sign another midfielder, with the arrival of Marcin Zubimendi set to be confirmed soon. But moving on to the Benjamin Sesko update. After the transfer window officially opened on June the 1st, according to BBC Sports, as the most profitable club in Premier League history,
Arsenal could easily spend over £200 million in this window and still have no PSR concerns. Some fans will see that as exciting and some fans will see it as jarring. If you have the money, go and spend it. And it looks like Mikel Arteta has his preferred centre-forward target, RB Leipzig's wonderkid Benjamin Sesko. According to reliable Sami Mokbel, Sesko has a near universal backing at the Emirates, but he will be the more expensive deal. Gyökeres is more economical, but it would see the club divert from the long-term strategy, given Sesko has always been a target. Both deals are still being explored. After reports from Fabrizio Romano that Arsenal have entered in concrete talks, as Andrea Berta tries to negotiate a deal with RB Leipzig, the strategy for me seems to be more and more clear. Let's negotiate for Sesko, get the best price tag possible, but also have other options if a deal becomes too expensive. According to reliable Sacha Valeri, RB Leipzig have indeed started negotiations with Arsenal over Benjamin Sesko, with the Gunners trying to make progress on several fronts simultaneously to avoid being left empty-handed if talks were to break down. For now, Sesko does not have a personal agreement in any English club, whereas Gyökeres is given his verbal agreement to join the Gunners. That despite a recent report from Team Losing Ticks, claiming that Arsenal have already struck an agreement over personal terms with Benjamin Sesko. This deal for me is not about the personal terms because I think Arsenal probably do have them agreed. For a player they've been trying to sign since 2024, a lot of work has already gone down. This is more a deal for Arsenal and RB Leipzig because the deal itself is complicated. Leipzig wants a lot of money for a player who they believe can be the best striker in the world, but Arsenal also have to be careful of not paying ready-made money for a player that has still so much room to develop. With Sesko having recently just turned 22 years of age, there's a reason why Arsenal would prefer him over Gyökeres. It all comes down to him being a physical freak, 6'4" with an elite burst of pace that once clocked him as fast as Kylian Mbappe, but also in the sense of keeping what you already have. With Kai Havertz being our main striker last season, a key facet to Arsenal's play is how often we go long. With Sesko, you've got a player who isn't just massive, but also is very good in terms of dominating the spaces. For a player who played basketball in his youth days, watch this video of Sesko at 14 years of age, and you'll see an insane level of athletic ability. How do you even get that high and how do you have that flexibility? But Arsenal aren't trying to make an NBA player, they also want a player who's technical. So with Sesko's idol being Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you can also see that in his style of play. Not fearful to carry the ball and get his team high up the pitch. In the Bundesliga last year, he was completing 1.2 dribbles per game, ranking him in the top 26 in all the league at a very impressive 55% success rate. And that's where Arsenal looking to add to what they have. In big games in the Champions League when Arsenal are under pressure, for as much as you can go long to the player, Sesko is also a devastating threat in transition. The pace to burst behind, the technical quality to beat his man, as well as having the mentality of a striker. When you think about Kai Havertz, you do have a player there who might have all the physical ability, as well as a high level of footballing IQ, but does he have the mentality to be unstoppable? Take his man on and go and beat it. Show the Arsenal fans that he can be a ruthless killer. That's what I'm looking towards Benjamin Sesko. A player that may be 22 but has scored goals in his entire career. It all comes down to Mikel Arteta wanting his version of Erling Haaland, with Sesko and Haaland both coming from RB Salzburg. You can't help but look past the similarities. Haaland for me definitely is the better goal scorer, but you think about their physical ability paired with their elite level of ball striking, all you have to look to is Sesko's wonder goal against Sweden, an insane Robin van Persie-esque volley on his weak and left foot, the prime example of elite level ball striking. You then compare him to the elite strikers in all of Europe, and Sesko is there to be seen as a very good level finisher. Not quite the level of Victor Gyökeres yet, but with a clear improvement on Kai Havertz. That despite playing in a different system last season, more of a facilitator playing in a front two, go back to 23-24, and Sesko had an insane 31.8% goal conversion rate, a rate higher than Erling Haaland, with over 100 plus goals in 200 games at 22 years of age. There will be Arsenal fans that will question, why are Arsenal going for another project player? But there will also be the same Arsenal fans who look at Desiree Doué scoring 2 goals at a Champions League final and wondering why Arsenal didn't take the risk last summer. For Arsenal right now, it's all about negotiations, with reports from Italy also claiming Arsenal are not the only club that are in concrete talks with Sesko. Both Liverpool and Man United are also seriously interested. In the case of United, I'm not too concerned, but we have to be careful. With recent reports coming out of Saudi Arabia, that Al Hilal could be signing Bruno Fernandes for £100 million. After the recent signing of Matheus Cunha, United is still in the market for a new striker. If you've then got over £100 million in the budget, Arsenal will need to be quick in the negotiations. But you also cannot forget about Victor Gyökeres. With many reports still confirming that Arsenal still hold an interest, he may not be the number one option, but in a market where you don't always get your first targets. Here was Victor Gyökeres recently speaking to a former teammate on FaceTime. Seen on a podcast, he said, "Victor, great talking to you. Text me when everything is signed and sorted at Arsenal." Gyökeres replied, yeah, sure. Yes, it was in jest and it's not really confirmation, but the player has opened the fact that he will leave Sporting Lisbon this summer at a very good price tag of €55 million. You think about his insane numbers and you start to wonder, Despite the interest from Arsenal, Liverpool on the market for a striker, so am Man United. Why haven't any other big clubs gone for it? Because for a player that had a goal contribution every 61 minutes last season, there is a sense of a fantastic market opportunity. Yes, while I think Sesko is a more suited profile to Arsenal, Gyökeres will still give Arsenal things that we don't currently have. An elite level of ball strike and insane shot power. Initially where I thought he may have been a little bit overrated, now I think Gyökeres is a bit underrated. Nowhere near as bad as some people make him out to be. For me, I have always been very consistent. I think this is a win-win. Gyökeres or Sesko, both plays improve Arsenal massively. And for an Arsenal side that had Mikel Merino scoring goals last time, who ended the year with more goals than Rashford, Jota, Nunes, De Bruyne, Højlund, Xerxes and Richarlison, if you've got a midfielder turning into striker scoring goals, Sesko and Gyökeres will elevate us regardless. But that is the video there and there, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all of his social medias, and the links are down below in the description. But that was all of your latest Arsenal news today, with the transfer window now officially open for Arsenal. You might have Zubimendi done, or the Sesko or Gyökeres, get the striker done as soon as possible, and then it's time to move on to a left forward. My friends, I'll see you next time. Take care and in a bit.